Okay, so I've been inspired for this video by an image that one of the designers here in the school has thought of, which is this idea of a African savanna scene with silhouettes. We've got baobab trees and a variety of different animals here. So let's sort of see. Here's my selection of trees. What I'm going to do here is go to the tools and make sure in the size options I go large to get high resolution images, and I'm going to be choosing one of these. Now I want to be making a silhouette that's going to be laser cut, and I could go with something like this, but I'm finding that's a little bit too kind of simplistic. Um, but then if I go for something like this, then is that going to be too complicated? I think what I'm going to do is, let's look at that one there. Wow, that's really interesting. Um, I think what I'm going to do is go with, if I go with this one here, what's interesting here is that we have actually got some watermarks on this image. Um, that resolution, oh, that's a really high resolution. We've got a variety of, let's do that one. That could be really, really cool. So, because we've got a whole range of trees to choose from. And there's this one here as well. What's the size of that? No, that's got a really poor resolution. So that's the one I'm going to go with. Okay, so let's now copy that image. I'm going to go to paint.net, Control Alt V, or edit and paste to a new image is what I want to do. So there's the design. Now this appears to have a transparent background. What I'm going to do here is just go back to this image here and drag this around, and I can see that it actually doesn't have a transparent background. It's got a solid background because, or has it? No, I think it's going to be transparent. Let's have a look here. Normally, if you drag things around, you can see if it's transparent because it becomes transparent as you drag it around on the screen here. Let's just introduce a new layer here, which is going to be put behind. Let's just get the brush tool, get a big brush, and just draw on here. Oh, it is. There we are. It is. Control wheel mouse. That is a transparent background. That's cool. So I'm just going to undo that. We are looking fine. Okay, so having a look at all of these baobab trees, let's see. Am I actually inspired by any of these? You know, none of those are really hitting me. Let's come back and have a look on here again and see. I want to get rid of that. Escape. No, no, thank you very much. Okay, let's go back to this one here. That's what I'm going to do. Copy image. Back to paint.net, Control Alt V. Okay, right, because yeah, this is what I'm going to try and do. Okay, so how am I going to approach this? Well, I want to try and get rid of this with these watermarks. Let's get the magic wand tool. I'm going to click on the black body here, and I can see here that some of these lines have been selected and some of the text here has not. So what I'm now going to do is take the tolerance of my magic wand tool and increase the tolerance. That increases the range of blacks and grays that is going to be selected by the magic wand tool. Keep going until I've got all of the lettering there in that watermark selected. Okay, that looks absolutely fine. Now what I'm going to do is I could just go to image crop to selection, but I've still got the text and some of these watermark images. So before I do that, let's come to the brush tool. Let's make a really big brush here. Let's make sure it's black. And I'm just going to sweep the brush over this, and you can see there it's going to ink out all the watermarks. Now I'm going to go to image and crop to selection. Now I have a transparent background and I've got my baobab tree in a black silhouette design. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, so let's now take this, Control A. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to come to Techsoft design here. I've already got an elephant from my previous work, and I'm going to paste in this tree. Now, I now need to make sure that because I want to cut this out, I want to make sure that it is going to be a vector. Now, this elephant I've already converted into a vector. If I click on it and go to Start Edit, I can see that this elephant is made from a large number of individual nodes, like a polyline, all connected together. And if I wanted to give it a longer tail or distort its tail, I could grab one of these nodes or one of these handles and change the way that tail looks. But obviously I don't want to do that, so I'm going to undo those processes. Okay, let's have a look at this baobab tree. I'm going to select it. Let's go to bitmaps. I'm going to vectorize this. Oh, first of all, let's look at the fact that it's a bitmap. If I click on this and go to properties, you can see that I get bitmap properties. Okay, what many people do is they turn on transparency. which is okay, I think, if we're doing printing, but it's not going to be okay here if we want to do some laser engraving, because the transparency tool actually, for here at least, messes up our Techsoft laser cutter. Anyway, I don't want to do that. I want to vectorize it. I've also noticed as well, there seems to be a few little anomalies here. This may have been from doing this elephant vectorization. So I'm going to make sure I delete those before I go any further. Okay, select the baobab tree, bitmap, vectorize. Okay, click on it again. This is a monochrome image, super important. That's where I like to work with these silhouettes. Click on OK. Now, this is a very high-res image. I can see it's 918 by 930 pixels, and I want to get maximum detail with this vectorization process. So I'm going to go to custom settings and do the conversion resolution at maximum setting. Now, in the process of doing that, and because it's quite a complicated profile, this is going to take a little bit of time here to process. Hopefully it's going to be finished very, very soon. I should just pause the video here, shouldn't I, really? Once this is done, you will see that there's going to be a white background still. So what I'm then going to do is ungroup the image, delete the background. I'm probably going to find some little anomalies like we saw with the elephant there as well. So let's just now select this. I'm going to go to Edit, Ungroup, or Control U. Okay, now I can stick the background to get rid of that. There's my transparency thing problem sorted. And if I zoom in here, it looks like in this case there were no little anomalies, but you've got to be careful with some images, because what can happen is you get little kind of errors in the file. Last thing I'm going to do here is select this, go to Start Edit. I can now see how that design is made up from thousands of individual little nodes and points. Okay, so now I've got that selected. I'm going to scale this down. Remember, it's right click and drag to scale things down. Okay, I can also get my elephant here. I can right click, drag and scale it down. That, by right clicking, is going to maintain the proportions of the tree and the elephant. And I'm going to try and put those together so they kind of like make a scene that I can now start to cut out. Now I'm wanting this to turn into a clock. So let's just imagine how this might look. I'm going to perhaps get a polyline tool here. In fact, no, actually, let's just get a circle tool first. I'm going to get a circle with a fixed radius. Let's go here with, let's see, the size I'm looking at is 145 millimeters across. So I'm going to make this 70 millimeters radius. So that's actually going to be my clock size. That really is quite small. I'm trying to save material here. Let's drop that like so. I'm going to try and put some kind of profile of land here. So I'm going to go with my polyline tool. Okay, yeah, let's get the polyline tool here, and I'm just going to try and put in here. Let's perhaps put step lock on there, some kind of profile for the land to kind of follow there. I don't know, something. Nope, I clicked too soon at the end there. So let's do that again. Something like that. Let's get the hold the mouse button down, delete part tool, trim that back as well. That's basically going to be my profile of my clock. Before I do that, what I need to do is go to Gridlock. I'm just going to perhaps identify with a 5 mil radius, 10 mil diameter circle there, where the center of that clock is. That's where my clock dial is going to go. And then let's now trim off the top there. Okay, that looks good. Now let's just get these designs. Now, actually, as it turns out, these are still filled in black. So let's go to fill color here. Let's make the fill color to just an outline. And here, let's get a fill color also to, or fill settings to outline. Now, can I select the baobab tree here? Can I scale this down to a suitable size? Again, right clicking and then position this on the scene. Here, what I'm going to do is just come to step lock to try and just position that a little bit more carefully. Something like that looks good. And then can I take my elephant design and can I bring this in? I feel as if I need to scale this down as well, otherwise it's going to be a humongous elephant. Let's just put that perhaps over here like that. I like the way that the trunk is kind of integrating there with the ground. It's going to make it more of a stable connection. So I'm going to run with this. I think as well, what I want to do here is just re-enter in my 70 mil diameter clock circle there, because what I need to do here is make sure that this will fit within that size. This, let's have a see. No, that's the wrong tool. Dear me, I'm struggling this morning. This dimensioning tool tells me it's 140, and I've actually got to 145 millimeters to work with in this particular project. So I know that my actual size of cutout is the same as that square there. So maybe what I'm going to do here is just get rid of those circles there and just highlight the fact that this square here is 145 by 145. So in this project, that is the limit I've set to myself for maximum size this product can be. So this works. I might just come to step lock here. I'm just showing a few things here. If I put my step lock there to 2.5 millimeters, it means I can just bring that to the left and down, and that's going to be so that the center of that square is where the clock face goes, and I can now see that that is having the baobab tree within that cutout. Okay, so that's almost ready for me to send to the laser cutter. Let's have a see what I need to do here. I'm going to come to the contour tool. I'm going to have a 0 millimeter graphical contour, and I'm going to do this in blue because I want to cut out. And let's have a see here. I want to cut out internal details first. So I'm going to cut out where the clock mechanism goes. I'm going to cut out where the internal details of this elephant's profile are. I can also see there's going to be a cutout here, 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 here. Okay. I'm going to basically go around. Now I could just make the baobab tree blue. That's another way that I can do this. And I'm thinking that this is going to take me so long to do and it's going to be so fiddly. But having said that, if I do that technique, am I going to end up with too many cutouts? I think let's do this. Let's do this. Let's select all of that. Let's just select the baobab tree. Let's just make it blue. Okay. And then let's get rid of the points. Actually, before I do any of this, aha, I haven't saved this yet, but before I do any of this, I'm going to take this, Gridlock on. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it over here because what I don't want to happen is for this to crash. And I'm also going to save this before I go any further as well. So let's just do that now. Let's go File, Save As, and I'm just going to put that. Yeah, I'm going to put it into. Let's see where we save stuff. No, just for simplicity here, desktop, I'm going to go to a temp folder. I'm just going to drop it in there. But you need to save it somewhere secure like your home drive. Okay, so this is going to be clock design V1. Okay, good. So let's have a look. I've done that. Let's get to the delete part tool now. Let's trim back where the roots of that baobab tree go into the ground. And as well here, let's just trim that back as well. Okay, let me see here. What I need to do is select that line. I've got to be careful here because I'd love to use the silhouette tool, but if I'm not careful, I'm going to silhouette this design of the tree again. So let's think. Come on, think, man. Okay, so I'm going to take this. Yeah, I'm going to trim back all these elements here. That's what I'm going to do. Can I do that? Is it going to work? We're looking good. Yes. Awesome. There. That's nice. And here. That's looking really good. So that is looking super. So did I have my blue lines there still? For some reason, my blue lines there disappeared. So I'm going to go back to the contouring tool. I'm definitely going to do the silhouettes inside those cutouts. Okay, and now, and here we go. Look, here's one of the problems that we have. Basically, there's something that's not quite right about this outline. And I have a sneaking suspicion that the program has just crashed. Okay, and it had. So that's a reason why it's a good thing to save your work. And let's just bring this back in again. So for some reason, it's not in my list there. Okay, so I managed to recover my file. So something strange definitely happened down here. So maybe I've got to be a little bit more savvy about how I approach this. Maybe what I'm going to do instead is select this. Now remember that I've made that whole thing blue by just selecting the baobab tree and basically saying blue. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to explode this, which is Control E, explode it one level, or I can go to Edit and I can go to Explode, which is there. And what this now means is this outline is now separate from the rest. I've got Gridlock on there, so I can pull that to side or I can bring it back into position. Okay, now I can select that. Yeah, this is going to be better. Let's make that black. Yes, I'm preferring this. So before I was doing all those little trims, it's always a bit dangerous to do that, I find, because it can cause the software to crash. Instead, what I've done now is I've made it so that the outline of the tree is black. And now, fingers crossed, I can come back to the contour tool, 0mm contour spacing, graphical path in blue, click on the external profile, and that has now outlined the whole clock. So I can grab that pattern. Again, Gridlock is turned on here, pull it to the side. That's my external cutout, but of course I've also got here all my internal details as well. So that is good to go. I'm going to, I think I'm going to do one more thing here. I think I'm going to add in some numbers. I want to have the 3, the 6, and the 9. Okay, so let me just get the number tool here. Let's just put down here a number 6. Now here, I could start getting really fussy with my fonts. In fact, yeah, I'm going to try something else here as well. I hope this video is not going to go on too long, but I'm going to take this. I'm also going to I've got so many ideas flying around my head here. I'm thinking about making this into a stencil, but I'm also thinking about stylizing this with my own number 6. Let me try and make this into a stencil. Let's try that. I'm going to go to edit. I'm going to transform this, make it into a path, sorry, which means it's going to change it from being text into a path. Before I do that, just have a look at what happens. If I go to properties at the moment, I can change the number. Okay, I can change the size of it, etc. But if I go to edit, make path, okay, path complete. Now I go to properties and you can see that this, or start edit, sorry, this is now a vector, just like with the elephant, and I can now start to distort this, okay? So what I'm going to do here now to make sure that the counter inside the 6 doesn't fall away is I'm going to get a rectangle tool with step lock turned on. And let's see, I'm going to make sure that this is going to be in black. And I'm going to draw in here, perhaps turn off step lock actually as well, and just have this kind of free form. I'm going to put a line there. Let's just try that. Okay, let's take my 6, fill color, no fill. Okay, let's get the delete part tool. And now what I'm going to do is use that to make a little slot in the 6 like that. Now I can group that together. I can set it again, sorry. Remember, this is separate elements at the moment. Select it. I'm going to make this into a path again, rather than grouping. I'm going to make it into a path. So it's a series of polylines basically, and then I'm going to position this down at the bottom, and at the moment I've got no positioning control. So let's go to Gridlock here. Let's just drop a line like that, grab this 6, turn on the attach tool, turn off Gridlock and step lock. I'm just going to drop this design down at the bottom like that. It's going to snap perfectly onto that line, and I can delete that line now, and I now know that that 6 is right perfectly at the bottom in line with the center point. Now I could use that same technique there. The 3 is going to be easy. The 9, again, I've got this little counter in the middle. Sorry, that would normally fall away, and I can fix it up. I feel as if it's the wrong size. I feel as if it's the wrong style, the wrong font, but just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to run with that. I'm going to send that to the laser cutter now and see what happens, and we'll come back. And before I send this, something just occurred to me. Of course, I need to make sure that that is going to be in blue, so it cuts out. And something else I'm going to do as well here is I'm going to select the outline that I did, and that wants to be the last thing cut on the laser cutter. If I do that before the 6, as I cut out the clock, it might just fall slightly in the machine, on the machine table, and it might misalign where the 6 is cut. So I'm going to take this outline. I'm going to come to the order options and send that to the front, and nothing seems to have changed, but it now means that this 6 will be cut before the outline of the shape is cut out. Anyway, let's see what happens. Okay, so the job's done, and here's the big reveal. This is the top side. So what I've done here, you can see there's a few kind of scratches where the plastic, protective plastic, was removed, and the black plastic's been marked, and you can see some burn marks here as well. Normally I would have done this in card to do a prototype first, but I wanted to just go straight to the black and see how it looks. Now, just to make this stand out a little bit better, can I get a piece of paper? Let's have a see. Can I bring this in here? It's not the cleanest bit of paper there, is it really? Should have prepared one. It's got all my drawings on the back. If I put that on like that, we can start to see how that's going to silhouette standing out nicely. Let's just turn this over and peel off the protective plastic and see how this looks. Okay, and peeling off the protective plastic here, of course, it's just not quite peeling off as nicely as it should on some of these little detail areas. The elephant's tails come off there. It is incredibly fragile, and if I peel it off here on these sections, you can see how it's not peeling off all the plastic quite as well as it should. But now I'm starting to really see how nice that's going to look on a blank wall. Okay, if I have a look close in here, I can see that there are clearly, some areas where the plastic's not pulled off, and there's some areas that are incredibly fragile here. If I kind of tap that, you can see there's a few bits kind of breaking away here. And here it's so fragile. So I feel as if there's definitely, I've gone for too much detail here. Let's just come back to the CAD file. And so what I'm proposing I do here is that if I just come to this design over here, let's just zoom in. I'm going to make it so that this is going to be black. And if you remember that I just selected the whole thing and just made it blue, I'm almost feeling as if what I need to do here is be more selective. And so go back to the contour tool here in blue and just think to myself, which of these do I really want to cut out? So I can see with my my design here, there's like a branch here that's super fine and fragile, and I really don't think it works that well either. So around here, I probably want to lose this. I'm probably thinking that what I would do is potentially, well, there's several things I can do here, aren't there? I could get completely carried away here doing things. I could get a black line. I could kind of put a bar across like this, and then I could just simply trim that back like that. Okay, and just get rid of the rest of that. That'd be one thing I could do. And use that same technique to basically get rid of this section here as well. So this kind of like just stretches out and stops. I could look at selecting some elements here, or I could explode this. Let's just try and explode this again. Control E, explode it. And then I could get the selection tool and just delete some of these little points that are causing me a problem, and just keep a few of them, perhaps that I think they're appropriate, like this. Okay, or I could just decide to myself, well, you know what I'm going to do here. Notice it's all exploded now, so I'm going to have to regroup that again. Or let's just Control H, which is going to make it back into a path. I got to think to myself, well, if I just put Gridlock on here and take this to the side. In fact, let's just actually copy and paste it. There we go. Do I just, contour this? Okay, and now if I just select that contour, bring it back across, you can see that now I've just got the outline of the tree. Now, I don't think that's working particularly well because this is a big blob up here. So now I'm starting to get a compromise between all the fine detail and just the outline. Maybe I need to, sort of select which of these. Perhaps, therefore, the secret is to, as I say, continue to work, explore that again, and continue to work with this idea of getting rid of the tiny little elements that I think are going to cause me a problem, and yet keeping perhaps the larger elements that are going to make it look more like a real tree, and finding some compromise so that what we get as the final engraving, is going to be a little bit more strong, stable, easier to remove the plastic, but still look really effective. So there we are. That is, oh, and look, I've not peeled off the bottom of the 6 there. That's the end of this video. Stick that down there. There you go. No, it's stuck to my hands. Oh well, it's on my nail. So, not finished yet, but hopefully it's given you a good idea of where we can go with this idea of creating silhouettes.